All right, welcome to ALLCAST.
Thank you.
The No Agenda podcast. I think I just clipped the mic again. That's fine. Welcome. This is Noah. I'm Kathryn. And yeah, we're going to jump right in with our first question. We live in Idaho, just to give context, but do you own a gun, good sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Why do you own a gun?
Well, I have a constitutional right to.
Okay.
And outside of personal defense, I hunt.
Okay.
So those are aspects, main aspects why.
Do you believe that everyone should have a gun?
No, I do not.
Okay, why?
Criminal record, mental insanity. I believe if you're schizophrenic or a psychopath, you should not be able to own a firearm. There are rules and laws for that reason. But if you are perfectly sane, you have every single right, according to the Constitution of the United States, too.
All right, fair enough. What do you think, just from your experience, what is the most important thing that gun owners should be aware of?
Safety and minding your trigger.
What does that mean?
So, you're holding a gun. You always keep your finger to the side of the trigger. Always. You never ever put your finger on that trigger unless you're ready to shoot and you know what you're shooting at.
Gotcha.
And most accidents happen, from what I've seen, that people aren't mindful of where their trigger is. And the military teaches you this as well. They're not mindful where your trigger is. And the finger slips. And people have blown holes in their legs, through their thighs.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
So I recently just got a gun for my own personal defense. And when I got it, I don't know if you've ever seen Andy Griffith's show, but there's like a scene
Maybe I have.
where like his deputy, because they're like cops, it's an older show, but like his deputy has the gun in his holster and he ends up shooting like the floor. He doesn't get his foot, but like it's like a funny moment, but like the sheriff takes the gun away. But that has been like on my mind the whole time. Every time I like put the gun in my pocket, I'm just like, don't do it. Don't do it.
There was so a guy that works with me at my job, he was a former Border Patrol agency.
A former what?
Border Patrol.
Okay.
He worked up on the which I think it was Copeland, the Copeland one, or the other one. I forget which one it was. But there was a cop in the Montgomery precinct that was sitting in his chair, messing around with his gun, and it went off, and he blew the urinal. He shot the urinal. It went through the bath, it went through the wall, and blew up the urinal. And thank God no one was standing there.
Oh my gosh, that could be so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's not cool. What happened to the cop?
He got busted.
I bet he did.
I think he got, I don't know if he got suspended or just yelled at, but yeah, he got in trouble.
That's horrible.
But he's screwing around with it.
Be careful with guns, guys.
Exactly.
It's not a toy, man.
There's a list. You can go online and look up gun safety rules, and there's a list of, I think, 10 to 15 of them, and you just go through every single one. And anytime you pull your gun out, you practice them. Double, triple check. Make sure your gun's unloaded every single time. I do it. Anytime I take apart my guns to clean it, I triple check. Because I'm not wanting to blast a hole through me or through anybody else. I'm more concerned about people around me than me.
Exactly. I feel that. Yes, that's... Ugh, no, it's just scary. It's scary.
That's the one thing about firearms that, even as a firearms owner, that's the one thing that does spook me. Is not only shooting myself, but I live in an apartment complex. I mean, I could put a hole through the ceiling on accident.
Yeah.
And hit somebody else.
Yeah.
And then that's well, shoot and a half. Yeah. No bueno.
Yes. I think it took me a while to understand, like I understand the consequences, but like the gravity of like what I was holding in my hand was really sinking in. I was like, I could, like, one pull of the trigger and someone could die. It just scared the crap out of me.
I think this might have been from a cowboy movie, or I heard this somewhere. Because back in the days, they had revolvers, which were 6 shooters. So you hold 6 lives, literally.
Oh my gosh.
Literally, you hold. Depending on how many rounds your gun carries, depending on what type of pistol you have, you carry that many lives.
That's heavy,
it's a heavy thought to think about.
Heavy.
It's a very heavy thought to think about. So whenever I do open carry, not a lot, but I do.
Open what? I'm sorry.
Open carry, which is
on
my hip.
Just like on your hip.
Concealed is in your in front or in back. This is really uncomfortable for me, but I'll open carry. But that's just a thought I keep in my hand. Is I literally have 17 rounds.
Wow.
17 lives in my hand. So it's like.
How long have you been? How long have you owned a gun?
I bought my first gun, I think, a year and a half when I moved up here. It was a bolt-action hunting rifle.
Nice.
It's an older. It's like a 60-something-year-old gun. It's a very nice,
Nice.
very old rifle.
That's awesome.
It's a Remington. Anybody who knows what a Remington is, it's a Remington 721. So they don't make them anymore.
All the gun owners out there. Oh, cool. Me having no idea what it is. Like, cool.
No, that was the first gun I owned.
That's awesome.
I was 17, I believe. I think it was like 2 weeks before my 18th birthday. And so in Idaho, you're not allowed to buy any. Well, this is federal, and well, for Idaho, it's, I believe, 18 to buy any rifle, shotgun, AR, anything like that. Then you have to be 21 years older to buy any pistol.
Really?
And that's federal.
Okay, gotcha.
So any type of pistol. So 22, 9mm, 45 ACP, any type of pistol, you have to be 21 years or older.
Interesting.
And then Idaho, you can be 18, you buy a shotgun, a rifle, or whatever.
Okay,
and then it varies by state.
Very cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that till I found out. I was like, oh, okay. No, I can't have to wait. Because I wanted a handgun when I turned 18.
Right,
I was like, oh, crap, I gotta wait.
All right. What are we doing? So you said you got it for hunting as well. How long have you been hunting?
I think since I bought it. So that's been, oh gosh, been here 6 years. So 4 or 5 years. I only recently started actually hitting animal.
So what were you doing before?
Going out with people who hunted before, learning how to do it.
Gotcha.
The first year we went hunting, we didn't get anything. My brother shot at a deer and missed. Went right underneath the belly. And then the year after that, a good friend of mine up here, I went hunt on his property, and I got a deer out of the tree stand.
Nice.
And then this year I got 2.
Nice.
I got a buck, and then I got my doe depredation tag.
Gotcha. What would you say to vegetarians and animal activists about that whole scene of it being wrong or immoral to kill an animal for the purpose of eating it?
So if you go back to the Bible and go into Genesis after the flood, God gave mankind the right to consume meat as a provision, because after the flood it wiped everything out. There was nothing there to eat, so they had to eat something or else starve. So if you want to be vegan or vegetarian, I have no problem with it.
Right.
Just my issue with it is the cultistness that comes with it. There's a lot of weird mentalities and weird things that come with veganism that I don't like.
Can I ask of an example?
My mom was a vegetarian and a vegan for, 13, 14 years.
Whoa, that's
really
a long time.
And it got to the point where it was becoming more of a religion. And it was becoming an idol.
Ooh.
And it was being held higher. An idol is anything you hold higher than yourself or than God. And that's what it was becoming. And God basically told her, saying, no, you got to stop this.
Wow.
And it wasn't just her. It was 4 or 5 other people in her friend group.
Wow.
And so she had to stop. And so that's the mentality that comes in. And then the whole, they shame people who eat meat.
Right.
You've seen the videos of vegans yelling at a guy who's eating a burger on the street.
Yeah.
And then on animal rights activist side, if you shoot an animal, it's instant.
Right.
The bullet is going so fast, the animal doesn't even have enough time to react to, ow, I just got shot. It's lights out.
Yeah.
Anytime you see an animal after getting shot and they're twitching, it's nerve endings. It's the nerve endings, and their brain, parts of their brain are still, functioning.
Interesting.
That it's making the nerves twitch. So
but the pain aspect, those neurons are done signaling.
Animals don't feel pain like humans feel pain. The way they feel, it's different. Because we process pain differently. Yeah. They're just ouch, that hurt. We're I burned myself.
Oh no.
But yeah, I've shot. I shot my buck this year.
Okay.
I shot it, and his leg was still twitching, and it sounds gruesome. You pull the neck back and you slit the jugular, and it's a quick. Gotcha. It relieves all the blood. Gotcha. And it doesn't allow the blood to be blood stained, and it's kind of nasty when that happens.
Sounds kind of nasty.
But it is quick, effective. The animal's not feeling any pain.
Okay. Interesting. I always wondered about that. We're going to take a brief break, brief intermission, and we'll be right back.
My name is Ken LaBarbera, and this is Interesting People.
Today we have Corbin Waltering on the podcast. Welcome. How are you doing today, sir?
There was a lot of controversy upon what my beliefs were.
We would have had a civil war
Wow, so you think that he's that intrinsic to the political landscape?
Yes.
Do you believe that everyone should have a gun?
No, I do not.
Okay, why?
You could see the tires and you know that you're 3 or 4 feet away from just being killed.
Did a lot of hallucinogenics.
What are your thoughts on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump?
I don't put anything beyond the people who are against Donald Trump.
You never ever put your finger on that trigger unless you're ready to shoot and you know what you're shooting at.
It's never not a surprise when you see a public figure get shot.
Do you think that we are desensitized?
I think our generation for sure is definitely desensitized to basically everything.
I want to take you on a little bit of a rabbit trail here.
I don't like a lot of the things that are happening in society.
How else would you describe going down the rabbit hole?
Right? One pull of the trigger and someone could die. Session 2. Hit it. Welcome back. And welcome back.
Thank you.
Jumping right in, I'm going to read this one. U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman recently ruled that illegal immigrants can possess guns under the Second Amendment. What's your opinion on that?
I 100% disagree because they're an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
They're not a citizen. There's no reason why an illegal immigrant should have any capability to own a firearm at all. If let's say Italy was allowing firearms and I moved to Italy, until I get my paperwork and everything, I can't own a gun.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to unless you're a citizen. And it's not just for my safety, it's for everyone else's, because I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Right.
You can go around stabbing people or shooting people.
Right. Well,
So
you don't need a license to get a knife. I mean,
some places you do, I think.
really?
I think so. I think some
Really?
European countries, yeah.
Oh.
Maybe.
Oh, I see.
Because I know European
That makes
countries
sense.
have there's a lot of
You had to get careful.
litigation on that.
Yeah.
But also Europe has more stabbings than shootings.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, we have more shootings than they have more
Yeah.
than stabbings.
It's still really bad.
But anything can be a weapon.
Yes.
There's a Navy SEAL I've talked to that said there's a way to kill someone with a newspaper. You can choke someone out with a newspaper. So.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
God. That's not great. So, just in general, what's your opinion on the general state of American politics right now?
I pulled back from politics a lot just
Yeah.
because it got too stressful for me.
Yeah.
I was thinking more on that than actually, living my life as I should. And so we need God badly. This nation needs it badly. And both the Democrat and the Republican Party are the same wings on the same bird.
Yeah.
They both have faults. They both need to, set themselves straight. Whether Trump is apparently, yes, Trump is better than Biden because Biden needs to be in a retirement home, regardless of my feelings for the guy. His mental cognitiveness is screwed.
Yeah.
So Trump is a better option. Is he the perfect option? Who knows?
I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect option. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect person,
No, Christ was.
Well, if Christ...
But outside of that,
if
that's
Jesus
true.
wants to come down and run for president, I'm here for it. Oh, man. Yeah, but I really am... It's refreshing to hear someone else say that both sides are... how did you put it? The same same wings on the same bird?
Same wings on the same bird.
Yeah, that's
one's just the right hand, one's the left hand.
I feel like that gets so lost in people taking sides when both sides are very flawed. Like the whole country is divided into...
It's a screwed up puddle of who knows what.
Yeah.
Both parties, it's just like, what the heck? You both have your fingers in things you shouldn't have in.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, the Democratic Party likes to do the push. They're the ones that do all the riots and the rallies and stuff like that. And the Republican Party kind of just gets pushed down. They whimper back like a puppy. And it's sad because both sides have so much to offer. I'm neither one. I call myself biblically conservative because any of my morals, my political views are based off the Bible.
Interesting.
Straight. And that's what I believe true conservatism is.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
How were you born that way? Or sorry, were you raised that way?
I was raised that way, yes.
Okay,
From a very early age. My parents were believers before they got married, and then they raised me and my siblings that way. Nice. And then it became a personal relationship once I, kind of got, okay, what's going on here?
What are some, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess moral habits or just beliefs that you picked up being raised that way, like some good habits and mindsets that were instilled into you through that.
Honesty, which was a hard one for me to learn. I'm okay with admitting this. I was a horrible liar when I was a kid, very bad liar. And finally it got to an age where it was the proverbial kick in the pants was saying, hey, wake up, dude. You keep lying like this, you keep deceiving people like this, you were either you're not gonna have any friends, and any of the friends you have are gonna not want to be your friends anymore.
Wow.
So I woke up to it and realized, okay, I need to drop that. Hardworking, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't commit murder, all the above. So the baseline, 10 Commandments, baseline, right. And then the explanation off of those.
Do you think that, this seemed like a stupid question, but do you think that the world would be a better place if everyone would just live by those 10 Commandments in the Bible?
Yes, I think it would be. I think if people lived by a code of morality, then all the wars and trauma and things that happen in the world would die down extraordinarily. I mean, you have the few psychos and the few wackos that have no regard for laws or rules. But for the most part, I think it would drop exponentially.
So we already kind of touched on this, but if there's anything else that you wanted to say, what is your opinion on Donald Trump and the upcoming election? So
I'm not registered to vote, and I haven't yet. I have conflicting... I go back and forth on it. Partly because if the election is rigged, what is my vote going to do?
Right.
And some of your viewers might be irritated to hear that I don't vote. Fuck it, I guess. I mean, if you don't like it, okay, it's fine, but that's my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
I may end up registering to vote. I don't know. I do know, and there's a reporter that said this, that if Trump were to get assassinated or not become president, we might have a civil war. And this was, I believe, on CNN or Fox News. I saw, there's a little clip on Instagram I saw. And that was right after Trump almost got assassinated. So... Do
you agree with that statement?
I think the chance of that happening is very, very high up there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with you.
And that's scary.
It's terrifying.
It's absolutely terrifying to think that, this one man, if something doesn't go right, the whole nation could just spark.
Yeah.
I mean, Fanny and be like the Hunger Games.
I just watched those. I finally was like, okay, everybody's seen them. What, 6 years later since they came out? I don't know. When did they come out? A long time ago.
Oh gosh.
Right?
I honestly don't remember. I read all the books.
I read the first one, and then I didn't care.
The books are on, in my opinion. There's a lot of people say the movie's better than the book, or the book's better than the movie. I think with the Hunger Games, it kind of there was aspects of the books that were better than the movies, and then the movies kind of did justice in some areas the books did.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an even balance.
That's cool. That's actually kind of rare. I feel like the books are almost always better.
99% of the time, the books are always better than the movie. Because God gave us an imagination for a reason, and we can imagine things in ways a movie can never put it into words.
That's one thing. I love Stephen King. I have an obsessive amount of books, but they're so much scarier than any horror movie I've ever watched, because my brain is thinking up things that are way scarier than anything someone's going to put on the screen.
And they can't put it on the
screen.
So speaking of that, the Stephen King novel, I slurred. Gosh. What is it?
It's okay.
I drew a massive blank here.
I did the same thing the other day. I was actually talking about a Stephen King book.
It was literally... It's based... The Conjuring.
Is it The Conjuring?
It's The Conjuring.
Wait, that was Stephen King?
I think it was Stephen King.
No.
Was it Stephen King?
I don't think so.
I don't read horror movies. I'm not a horror fan, so I really don't know.
I don't know. I don't think The Conjuring was like a real story. Though.
It was a real story, but didn't Stephen King wrote a book on it? Like, Google, ask Google. I don't know. I could be wrong. I think he did, because I know one of the daughters that was there when it happened. Excuse me. She wrote a autobiography on it. But I thought Stephen King wrote another book on it. Maybe it was a different book.
I don't think so. I could be mistaken, but I don't think that was Stephen King.
Okay, then I could be wrong. But spin back.
Anyway, what were you saying?
So the autobiography, The Conjuring, they couldn't put, I think it was a quarter of that in the movie because of how bad it actually was. The directors of the movie were like, we can't put this in here.
Yeah.
Like we won't even get, a lot of horror movies are rated R, or I think there might be a horror movie rating or X because of just how dramatic and scary it is.
Yeah.
The directors for The Conjuring, probably one of the scariest horror movies out there, said we can't put half of what's in this book into this movie because we would not be able to get a rating for it. We couldn't get it.
We're gonna take a brief intermission yet again. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Just Us and welcome to the comment room. Today I'll be reading comments from two videos. The first one is an older video called Calvin and Hobbes.
I remember an old comic strip I used to read a lot when I was a kid called Calvin and Hobbes. I enjoyed it a lot because Calvin was a very imaginative boy, and he has this little stuffed tiger who is his imaginary best friend, and his stuffed tiger is named Hobbes. So one day, Calvin and Hobbes are sitting in a field, and Calvin asks Hobbes, he says, if you could have anything in the world right now, what would it be? And Hobbes, he sits and thinks, well, I would wish to be in a big sunny field. They're already in a big sunny field, and Calvin, he's ballistic. Are you nuts? You're in a field right now. You've already got that, But Hobbes just lays down and goes to sleep. And Calvin goes, it's hard to argue with him when he's that happy. You can spend your whole life wanting more, but more will never be enough until you're satisfied with what you have right now.
The first comment is Calvin and Hobbes is one of my favorites, and then the second comment is Hobbes is the quieter one and easier to please of the two. Calvin's more I want it all. I love how Watterson balances their two polar opposite personalities. I love that too. That's one of my favorite things about that comic strip is how those two are able to bounce off each other in conversations, especially when Calvin has these long rants and Hobbes has these very simple responses that it brings the conversation to an end very quickly usually, and I love that. All right. Moving on. Why did Vladimir Putin agree to interview Tucker Carlson specifically? What was the benefit for Putin in providing this interview to Tucker Carlson, and why Tucker Carlson? Why not someone else? Tucker Carlson was fired by Fox News, and since that time has been an independent journalist. He is not controlled by mainstream media. He is not controlled by a corporate agenda. He is not controlled or sponsored by government. If you were paying attention to the interview, if you saw this in the interview, Vladimir Putin established...
In the war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States because the United States controls all the world's media and many European media. The ultimate beneficiary of the biggest European media are American financial institutions. Don't you know that?
Perhaps Putin wanted to be interviewed by Tucker Carlson because Carlson isn't going to censor or filter the interview in any way. Tucker Carlson is giving people the opportunity to form their own opinion. There are over 184 comments on this one, so we're probably not going to get into all of them, but we'll read as many as we can possibly can. Putin let him because Tucker is a stupid person. I don't know if I would say Tucker Carlson is a stupid person. I don't think a stupid person would be able to be in the position of having those types of interviews. Doesn't matter, it's just interesting and important to hear both sides. Very true. The truth will be heard. Putin is not as bad as our government wants us to believe. The US government is evil and a money-hungry war machine. Putin is the greatest leader on earth for this and the last century. Putin controls Trump and Trump controls Tucker. I don't know what your basis for believing that is, but I would be curious to see why you think that. True blue Putin knows real. Because Tucker gets on his knees. He gets on his knees apparently. I don't think that's what happened, but you know, you never know. Are you jealous? If I were given the opportunity to interview Vladimir Putin, I think I would have some different questions for him. I think that everyone was equally thrown off by his whole history rant. No one really expected him to go that far back into history, but I think that it's because he was trying to explain what he believed and what he thought. But no, I'm not really jealous of that position, but if, you know, as a fellow journalist, if I had the opportunity to take that interview, I probably would. President Putin tells the American people the truth about what's really going on in our world. Unlike Biden, he's a liar and an American criminal. Joe Biden blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Biden is responsible for the Russian-Ukraine war, and Biden is responsible for the Hamas-Israel war. Biden is an American enemy. That's the truth. FJB. What does FJB mean?
Joe Biden.
What?
Joe Biden.
No, it says FJB.
Joe Biden.
Oh, FJB. Oh, wait, I get it now. Okay, wait. Putin knows that most Americans got no idea about the truth, and they believe their government are angels and the rest of the world are evil. He also knows that America controls Europe and NATO is a weak and only aggressive against small countries. Putin too smart for America and Europe. Okay. Good info hunter. Better than all the fake shit we see. The truth will mind F you so bad. I don't think most will ever recover. I think that was a compliment, so thank you. Because Tucker, he's honest journalist. That's why he's got the privilege to interview Putin. I don't know if I call it a privilege. I think that if you develop that mindset with interviewing anyone, I mean, it's a privilege to interview anyone. It's a privilege and an opportunity to be able to talk to and interview anyone. And it's a great opportunity when someone's willing to share with you their life. So I think it's a privilege to be able to talk to anyone, to get information from anyone when anyone's willing to share information. I don't think that's something that we want to say only applies to certain people in certain positions of power, you know? Trump wants to stop the killings in Europe. Checkmark. The mainstream media screamed. What? No winner? Send more cluster bombs, send more longer range missiles, send more main battle tanks, send F-16s. What else? Send Trump to the jailhouse. How dare, wait, I want to get this right. How dare Trump want to stop our lucrative holy proxy war in Europe? Poor Ukrainians have been bombed, maimed, and slaughtered, and homes reduced to rubble. Since 2014, deadly military conflicts broke out between the Ukrainian nationalists and separatists, culminating in the 2022 invasion by Russia. Who cares? Lock up Trump before he stops another of our lucrative, glorious freedom wars. Victoria Nuland, 2013 maiden uprising. F the EU no more pro-Russia wannabe. Mission accomplished. What happened to Minsk's agreement? Boris Johnson is innocent again, folks. Blinken was 6 months old during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Jens Stoltenberg was only 6 years old. Together, these two kids are leading Europe destiny, and both love to poke the bear. Anyway, we'll go ahead and cut off from here. Thank you so much for watching the comment room, and if you want to see your comment on the comment room, just make sure to comment on one of our YouTube shorts. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day.
Session 3. Hit it. Welcome back to ALLCAST. Noah.
Yes.
Why do you think people should hunt?
It's cheaper. Basically speaking, it is so much cheaper. Not to get into, because, I mean, depends on what gun you want and blah, 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 blah. But you can get, I mean, you can go to far north in town and get a decent rifle for $400 or $500. Nice. And then your ammos, depending on what gun you get, can be anywhere from $20 to $30 a box. And then your time. So if you don't want to go to the store and spend $6,000 or $600 on a bunch of meat, you can go drop a deer and get a couple 100 to 100, maybe 20, 130 pounds worth of meat, or go get an elk and get, you know, 300-400 pounds of meat. Yeah. So I honestly think in the end it is a lot cheaper. It's fun.
Is it?
You get to learn some survival skills. You're going to learn how to skin and gut an animal. The part that I found fascinating is when you gut it, you kind of learn the anatomy a little bit.
Interesting.
So it's not the same as a human anatomy. But you can kind of, you know, kind of put the two side by side. But it's kind of cool to see, you know, where the heart...
The worst scientist ever. I mean, they're kind of gross.
But you can see where the heart is, where
Right.
the lungs and everything
Right.
attached. So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's still like a whole like nervous system that still
Now
works.
you get to see,
very
you get to see,
similarly.
you get to see all the valves on the heart. You take the heart out and you clean it. You get to see all the valves and all
Yeah.
where the blood comes in and comes
That's
out.
pretty cool.
It's really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Not for someone with a weak stomach, I'd imagine though.
I thought it was pretty nasty when I gutted my first animal.
What was the
mine,
first
no.
animal that you?
I think the first animal I gutted was a sheep. We were
Really?
butchering sheep. That was the first animal I gutted.
Interesting.
It's the smell that threw me off. The blood and the fat and whatever else, that wasn't really the nasty part. It's just the smell to not, and especially if you nick the poop sack.
Yeah.
That's even, you smell
Gross.
crap. That it's
Yeah,
disgusting.
That's pretty gross. Something that's been on my mind a lot is we've seen the economy do quite a roller coaster lately with the inflation and just after COVID too, like the way that like nobody
wants to work.
Well, it was scary too that like all the stores kind of shut down and like a lot of people don't know if the people don't know how to hunt and like their store shut down and they don't know how to like get their own food. Like
if they can't provide for themselves, they go like nuts.
Yeah.
And that's where you have, you know, problems of them burning to loot people's houses, blah blah blah. So I think it is a necessity, not just to know the basics.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to know how to hike 45 miles and drag a 300 something pound animal out of the woods. You don't need to know how to do that. But if you can walk out your back porch and shoot a deer and skin it and gut it, you have 10% more survival skills than the average person does.
Yeah.
And you can survive on your own a lot better.
Yeah. I think it's really scary how dependent we are on this whole system we have on grocery stores and stuff. When with one thing were to happen, like COVID, something were to happen like that again, like I really hope that people are trying to be more prepared because it really opened my eyes up to all of that.
It got
so we just try to keep things on hand. Like we try to stay stocked up as much as we can. Like I get like money is always tight, I feel like, for everyone. But if we can, it's literally like taking like a roll of toilet paper out of like the pack that you get and like setting it aside somewhere. And then, like we don't touch that. That's our emergency pack.
That's backup.
And it's smart. Like, and I feel like if more people had done that, there wouldn't have been such a chaos and panic with everyone.
And I mean, you have big cities where you can't hunt in big cities. I understand that. But you can hunt in a big city if you really wanted to. It's called stock up.
Explain that to me.
By going to the grocery store. And of course, I'm not condemning anybody. COVID was kind of thrown in and everybody was like, whoa, what the heck? But it's called prep.
Yeah.
Stock up. That's why I said hunt in very big quotations.
Right.
Stock up.
Yeah.
Even if you have a brother or a family member knows that has a farm, go in on half on a cow. You know, going in half on a cow with somebody else is 10 times cheaper than going to the store and buying, 600-700 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
Way cheaper. It's a lot of money, of course, you had to throw up front
to
go half on a cow, but
yeah,
I know people have gone half on a cow and they still have meat from like a year ago.
Yeah.
That's a lot of meat.
Yeah. I would say to anyone watching this, I would really start to try being more local. And if you have a brother or a cousin and they're a hunter or they have a farm, like start getting things and like storing them away.
Start learning.
And start learning.
That's how I did it.
Yeah, like you can learn like valuable skills and just like you said, survival instincts and all that. Like you could start learning all of that.
I'm from California. I know Idahoans don't like California. I didn't come here to change your culture. I came here to join it. I didn't know at all how to gut an animal. I knew none of this. We moved up here and I was kind of thrown into it.
Right.
I learned by trial and error and by having a lot of people around me that just taught me how to do it. I may not be fast and effective at it, but I can do it if absolutely necessary.
And that's so much more than, I can't say that. You put a gun in my hand and you like shoot that deer, I'm like, nah, I'm good. You can do it.
And certain people have their weaknesses and some people have their strengths.
True.
Some people can't hunt. It's just too traumatic for them.
Yeah.
And that's generally the thing. Yeah. It's just too traumatic. They can't deal with the blood and gore. Some people can. Yeah.
It's something I want to make myself do because I think it's very valuable. And it could possibly, like you said, the money aspect is so huge, but
it definitely...
Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt. No, you're all good.
I got 2 deer this year.
Okay.
A buck and Adele. I believe I mentioned this earlier.
I think so.
That meet lasted me till I believe May of this year, and I got it in November.
Whoa.
Of last year, and that's how long that meat lasted me. Of course, I didn't eat it every single day.
Right, but still.
But still.
That's a lot
over
of meals.
the past of what? I mean, that's over 4 months.
I think I actually tried some of that. I don't know.
I think you did.
I think it was yours.
Yeah, it was mine because Corey cooked it and he brought it down and let you guys try it.
Very delicious.
Yeah, it's
it
good. It's so good. If you do it right, it's good.
Right.
It's venison's got a lot of sinew in it.
What is that?
Muscle. So you'll see the meat
like
this, and it's got
really,
that white stuff in it. That's sinew, and if you don't cut that out, it's like chewing boot leather.
My grandma will make venison quite a bit. She'll fry it up in the pan, and it's really good, but it can get chewy.
It can get very chewy.
All right. So here's kind of a big question: do you believe that world peace is a realistic and/or achievable goal in this world?
I believe when Christ comes back, yes. At the moment, with our human nature, no. We're too self-centered and ignorant to even want that. Even talk of it. I mean, I know people have talked about it, and talking and doing are two different things. And it's like the same thing with climate change. People talk about it, people talk about it, people talk about it, people talk about it. Nothing gets done. And I'm not a big on the climate change thing. I think it's a hoax. Yeah, I won't go into that. I'll just say across the board, it's a hoax.
I tend to kind of agree with you there. They've been saying for a long time that it's about to burn, and it just hasn't happened.
Not Mount St. Helens, but Glacier National Park's gonna blow up. Yeah, it's in a dormant volcano. Right. Of course it's gonna blow up one of these days.
It's gonna
the
happen
Earth has its cycles. It cools down and heats up, and it's been doing this since the dawn of creation. Is it doing it more rapidly now? Yeah, because, I mean, sin, and it's speeding up the process. Yeah. But for world peace, until God comes back, I can't see that happening. I see more world domination. I see more of elites controlling everybody and dictating what everyone can do, and that would be their form of world peace.
So you talk about Christ coming back, but if the people aren't willing to see that, then what does that look like?
That's a fine line, because if you aren't willing to see it, you've already shown the opposite way. I mean, there's only two paths you can walk on. You can't walk in the middle of a fence.
I mean, you could try.
You can try, but you slip and fall, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So you gotta pick a side.
Yeah.
And if you pick the wrong one, and the Bible tells us that sin is the wages of sin are death, and so at that time, people are gonna have to, open their eyes and look and say, do I want this or do I want that? And they're gonna have to choose. And once they choose, that choice is final.
So I know you're a Christian, but what if God, Jesus Christ, doesn't come back? Or when he does, what if it's too late?
That's the thing. He has to come back before it's too late. Because if he doesn't come back, we are non-existent. Humanity will kill itself if he doesn't come back. So he has to. It's prophesied, and he has to come back. Because if he doesn't come back soon enough, or too late, there will be nothing to come back to. We will. I firmly believe that humans will kill each other. We'll kill ourselves.
Wow. Well.
Sorry to end on a sad note.
No, I mean, I think people need to think about it, I think there's a lot of people that don't believe or may not have that connection. Mm-hmm. But I think that people should still be looking to how they can be better, even if they can't make that connection with God. Thank you for watching. Noah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Love this conversation, been amazing. And we'll see you guys next time.